Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something huge, the Space Force's brand new plan for data and AI. But this isn't just another press release. We're going to dissect whether this plan is a game changer or just another bureaucratic black hole. Is the Space Force truly ready to harness the power of AI, or are they setting themselves up for a massive failure? Some insiders are whispering it's the latter. We're hearing that previous attempts to unify data have been plagued by delays and integration nightmares. Will this time be any different? Stay tuned, because you're about to find out. So what's the big news? The Space Force just dropped an updated version of its Data and Artificial Intelligence Strategic Action Plan. This plan outlines how they intend to improve their ability to share information across systems in fiscal year 2025. The main goal? To integrate data from various sources, including commercial and international partners, into a unified system. Think of it as a giant, cloud-based library for space data. It's all about boosting space domain awareness. Sounds great, right? But there's a catch. The heart of this plan is the Unified Data Library, or UDL. This cloud-based repository is supposed to ingest and consolidate data from government and commercial sensors. The idea is to give the Space Force a comprehensive view of what's happening in space. However, the UDL has been around since 2018, launched by the Air Force Research Laboratory, and it hasn't exactly been a smooth ride. Let's be honest. The UDL has faced some serious criticism. Users have complained about its inability to interface with operational systems. In other words, it's been difficult to actually use the data in real-world scenarios. A 2023 report from the Government Accountability Office, or GAO, detailed a whole host of challenges. These included issues with commercial integration, the timeliness of the data, and the lack of a single data standard. Imagine trying to build a house with bricks of different sizes and shapes. That's the UDL's problem in a nutshell. The Space Force is now trying to turn the UDL from a prototype into an official program of record, using the Pentagon's software acquisition pathways. But can they overcome these past hurdles? That's the million-dollar question. According to the plan, a capability needs statement for the UDL is due before the end of March. This statement will identify additional enhancements to the system. Throughout the rest of fiscal year 2025, the Space Force aims to expose data from various space domain awareness sensors to the UDL for analysis by the National Space Intelligence Center. The plan also emphasizes data sharing across the Space Force enterprise. The UDL will integrate into Space Operations Squadron's Orbital Analysis Suite and other high-value assets. This is intended to facilitate data sharing at tactical, operational, and strategic levels, and with combatant commands, commercial entities, and partner nations. But here's where things get tricky. Sharing data with commercial and international partners requires establishing clear policies, guidance, and standards. The Space Force is tasked with creating guidance for digital infrastructure and data storage to support integration with commercial assets. This is likely part of a broader effort to increase collaboration with the commercial space industry. They also need to develop standards to enable partners to share data and models via their operational test, training, and infrastructure environment. It's a massive undertaking, requiring careful coordination and a commitment to open communication. Beyond the technical aspects, the strategy also focuses on improving data and AI literacy across the workforce. The Space Force plans to appoint data and AI officers to oversee related initiatives at field commands. They also want to strengthen partnerships with other government organizations, academia, industry, and international partners. This is crucial. You can have the best technology in the world, but it's useless if your people don't know how to use it effectively. The plan aims to foster data literacy and equip Guardians with cutting-edge technologies. But will this be enough to drive real innovation? Some experts are skeptical. They argue that the Space Force needs to fundamentally change its culture to truly embrace data and AI. Let's take a deeper dive into the technical challenges. One of the biggest hurdles is achieving true data interoperability. This means ensuring that data from different sources can be seamlessly integrated and analyzed. The Space Force needs to adopt common data standards and protocols to make this happen. Another challenge is data latency. The timeliness of the data is critical for space domain awareness. The Space Force needs to minimize the delay between when data is collected and when it's available for analysis. This requires optimizing data pipelines and leveraging real-time processing techniques. A key concept here is data fusion, where data from multiple sensors is combined to create a more complete and accurate picture of the space environment. Furthermore, they need robust data governance policies to ensure data quality, security, and privacy. The Space Force could benefit from research in areas like federated learning, which allows AI models to be trained on decentralized data sources without sharing the raw data itself. This can be particularly useful when working with sensitive or classified information. Consider the research paper Federated Learning: Challenges, Methods, and Opportunities by Yang et al. 2019, which highlights the potential of federated learning in various domains. The Space Force must invest in these areas to truly unlock the power of data and AI. Now, let's talk about a major point of contention: the role of commercial partners. On one hand, the Space Force needs commercial data and expertise to enhance its capabilities. On the other hand, relying too heavily on commercial sources could create vulnerabilities and dependencies. Some argue that the Space Force should prioritize developing its own in-house capabilities to maintain control and ensure security. Others believe that a collaborative approach is the only way to keep pace with rapidly evolving technology. The key is finding the right balance. The Space Force needs to establish clear guidelines for working with commercial partners, ensuring that data is secure and that the government retains ultimate control. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. There's also the debate about open source versus proprietary solutions. Should the Space Force embrace open source technologies to foster innovation and reduce costs? Or should they stick with proprietary systems to ensure security and reliability? This is a complex issue with no easy answers. One way to approach this debate is by using a weighted scoring model. For example, you can assign weights to different criteria such as security, cost, performance, and ease of integration. Then, you can evaluate different solutions based on these criteria and choose the one with the highest overall score. This provides a more objective and data-driven approach to decision-making. The plan also calls for strengthening international partnerships. This is essential for sharing data and coordinating efforts in space. However, working with international partners can be challenging due to different security protocols and data sharing agreements. The Space Force needs to establish clear guidelines for international collaboration, ensuring that data is protected and that national security interests are not compromised. Some worry about potential conflicts of interest and the risk of sharing sensitive information with untrusted partners. Others argue that international cooperation is essential for addressing global challenges in space. What do you think? Is the Space Force doing enough to protect our interests while fostering international collaboration? This is a critical question that deserves careful consideration. So what's the bottom line? The Space Force's updated AI strategy has the potential to transform space domain awareness and enhance our national security. But it also faces significant challenges. Overcoming these challenges will require strong leadership, effective collaboration, and a commitment to innovation. The success of this plan will depend on the Space Force's ability to integrate data from diverse sources, improve data literacy across the workforce, and foster strong partnerships with commercial and international entities. What do you think? Will the Space Force succeed in its mission? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth analysis of the latest developments in space and technology. Stay curious, my friends. Now, let's switch gears and talk about a major leadership change in the Army. Daniel Driscoll has been confirmed as the Army Secretary, stepping into the role as the organization pursues major transformation efforts. Driscoll, a veteran and former private equity advisor, is expected to be a disruptor and change agent at the Pentagon. He's already signaled his intention to prioritize commercial off-the-shelf technologies, including drones, and to speed up modernization efforts. This is a significant development that could have a major impact on the Army's future. He emphasized that the Army should purchase non-development and commercial off-the-shelf (COTS) solutions to meet requirements. According to him, some capabilities require the Army to undertake independent development, but many of the organization's most pressing needs, such as small unmanned aerial systems, counter-unmanned aerial systems, electronic warfare systems, and communications gear, have already been developed. Driscoll has warned that the Army's technological edge is shrinking and that the organization needs to better prepare its forces for advances in autonomous warfare and drone operations. Modernization initiatives currently in the works for the Army include artificial intelligence tools, next-generation network capabilities, robotic combat vehicles, air defense systems, directed energy weapons, new aircraft and drones, information technology, hypersonic missiles, and augmented reality goggles. It's a massive undertaking, and Driscoll's leadership will be crucial to its success. The Trump administration is still waiting for other nominees to be confirmed and fill top posts at the Pentagon. This includes Trump's picks for Deputy Secretary of Defense, Navy Secretary, Air Force Secretary, and other key positions. The administration is also expected to soon put forth additional nominations. The recent firings of senior officials have created further uncertainty and underscore the need for strong leadership at the Pentagon. Finally, let's turn our attention to a growing threat: China's expanding satellite capabilities. The U.S. military has long held a key advantage over China's, the ability to hit mobile targets at extremely long distances. But that advantage is now being challenged. China is building a massive architecture of remote sensing satellites to help target U.S. forces if they move to defend Taiwan in a conflict. This architecture is purpose-built to survey and do reconnaissance in the Western Pacific and globally. It's designed with a proliferated architecture with many numbers so that they are resilient against attack. Since the inception of China's military space arm in 2015, the country has seen a 550% increase in on-orbit assets. The PLA has rapidly advanced in space in a way that few people can appreciate. China has launched more than 400 satellites over the past 2 years, more than half of which are designed to track things on Earth. They recently put a radar imager in GEO in August. This satellite, called Ludi Tans 4, is designed to look at the Western Pacific, even though they say it's about agriculture. The Western Pacific that it's looking at is over the ocean. This capability provides constant coverage and imagery, even through clouds and during night hours. The Space Force is now tracking about 1,000 priority targets in space, out of 9,500 satellites in space. This requires orchestrating a collection of about 600 apertures around the world. The Space Force collects that data and brings it into a data repository called the Unified Data Library, so the U.S. government and coalition partners can access the information. This is a race against time. The U.S. needs to maintain its technological edge in space to deter aggression and protect its interests. It's crucial to have continuous training for all the Guardians. They are currently training about 6 people a month to learn how to do the first-level analysis. In other news, the United States and India are launching a new Autonomous Systems Industry Alliance, or ASIA, aimed at boosting co-development and co-production of maritime drones and counter-drone systems. This initiative hopes to scale industry partnerships and production in the Indo-Pacific. The leaders highlighted a new partnership between Anduril and Mahindra Group focused on advanced autonomous technologies to co-develop and co-produce state-of-the-art maritime systems and advanced AI-enabled counter-unmanned aerial system to strengthen regional security. Anduril has already developed a variety of AI capabilities, autonomous drones, and counter-drone systems for the U.S. military, including unmanned aerial systems and unmanned underwater vehicles. This collaboration represents a shared commitment to advancing technological innovation and expanding joint opportunities to further capabilities in the Indo-Pacific. Finally, key lawmakers have drafted a legislative provision that would require the Pentagon to streamline the Authorization to Operate, or ATO, for cloud-based platforms, services, and applications. This proposal calls for the modernization of the Department of Defense's ATO processes. The proposal would require the DoD to institute the presumption of reciprocal software accrediting standards. This legislation comes as the Pentagon is forging ahead with various cloud initiatives as a key component of its IT modernization efforts. This is a welcome development that could significantly speed up the deployment of new technologies to the warfighter. It's crucial that the Pentagon embraces modern software development practices and streamlines its ATO process to keep pace with rapidly evolving threats. The DoD would also have to develop and implement a system for the digital sharing of that type of documentation. The policy and guidance developed under this subsection shall apply with respect to all cloud-based platforms, services, and applications capabilities operating across accredited cloud environments of the military departments, to the extent practicable. To wrap things up, the Department of the Air Force has outlined its plans to implement the cybersecurity framework by leveraging cloud-based and identity, credential, and access management solutions. DF Chief Information Officer Venice Goodwine released the department's Zero Trust strategy this week, in which she lays out 7 strategic goals and accompanying objectives that will allow the air and space forces to operate using a zero-trust concept in the future. The DAF intends to move beyond baseline maturity for zero trust and work to reach intermediate maturity by the end of fiscal 2028, according to the document. Each of the strategic goals and objectives are directly aligned with the Defense Department's Zero Trust strategy, released in 2022. The Pentagon-wide implementation plan requires organizations across the department to achieve what it calls target levels of zero trust no later than the end of fiscal 2027. Ultimately, this strategy makes the warfighting changes we need to evolve as a department possible by simplifying access for our airmen and guardians while simultaneously improving our cyber posture.